administration, representing a sharp policy change for the president.
Alabama ruling triggers IVF pause.
It is disturbing and ironic.
Excitement in San Diego.
We're going to be getting giant pandas?
Good morning. I'm Steve Chafin with the CBS World News Roundup. In the high-stakes battle over the southern border, sources tell CBS News President Biden is considering using sweeping executive authority to deal with the crisis. CBS News White House correspondent Nancy Cordes.
What the White House is floating here would be a return to the Trump border policy in one very significant respect. It would deter migrants from coming to the U.S. by restricting access to the overloaded asylum program. This is a big development, especially for a Democratic administration, and officials are considering it because of the record numbers of migrant crossings over the past few years. And so now they're looking at a law that has been on the books more than 70 years. It allows the president to suspend the entry of foreigners when it's determined that their arrival is detrimental to the interests of the United States. The Trump White House used that same law to justify an attempted ban on visitors from some Muslim-majority countries. That faced legal challenges. This almost certainly would again.
There's new fallout from the Alabama Supreme Court ruling that said frozen embryos created during in vitro fertilization had the same rights as children. CBS's Meg Oliver reports that's led the state's largest hospital to pause IVF treatments.
34-year-old Jasmine Knowles turned to IVF doctors at the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
I was supposed to transfer back in January and have had a couple of mishaps. And so we were really looking forward to March 20th was when I was supposed to transfer. Is IVF your last hope to have a baby? Yes. There is no other way.
The university said in a statement that it was pausing IVF out of concern physicians and even aspiring parents would face criminal punishment following the state court's decision, even if the hospital adheres to the proper standard of care.
We're not certain what is safe and legal for us to do with regards to IVF.
Dr. Mamie McLean is a physician at one of Alabama's largest fertility clinics.
Ultimately, we're worried that there's going to be fewer babies born in Alabama because of this ruling.
Last night, Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley spoke for Gail King on CNN's King Charles about the court's decision.
I do think that if you look in the definition, an embryo is considered an unborn baby.
York firmly disagrees.
These are not living children. We want living children.
AT&T's network went down for thousands of its customers early this morning, affecting calls and internet access. This includes some 911 emergency disruptions. Verizon and T-Mobile customers and others reported some outages, according to a digital service tracking site. A new surge of violence in the Middle East. In the West Bank, at least one Israeli is dead, 8 others wounded. CBS's Holly Williams.
3 Palestinian gunmen opened fire near a busy checkpoint in the Israeli-occupied West Bank early this morning. According to authorities here, they say Israeli security forces killed 2 of the attackers and a 3rd was wounded and detained. Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir visited the scene with some strong words saying, quote, "The right to our lives prevails on their freedom of movement." Meanwhile, in the Gaza Strip, there are reports that Israel's intensified its bombardment of the south.
The Kremlin calls President Biden's latest characterization of Vladimir Putin as shameful. Mr. Biden called the Russian leader a, quote, crazy SOB at a San Francisco fundraiser. It's 4 minutes after the hour.
Well, that's today's news. Today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. It's 47 degrees in Woodside, California.